welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Shereen and I'm so glad you're here. I am so excited about today's video because today I'm gonna share with you everything that I know to help you start a garden. And I know this will be the perfect video for anyone who never had a garden before, because sometimes it can be intimidating and you don't know where to start or how long to keep it going. And I am here to tell you that I am a beginner too. And I only started having a garden like 2 years ago, and it's gotten better. Like the first year it was good, the second year it was great, and this year I'm hoping for it to be amazing. So I'm so excited to share everything that I know with you, because if I can do it, you can do it too. Last year I used to post so much of our harvest on Instagram, and I got tons and tons of questions about people asking me like, what is your secret? How do you do it? Your garden is so full. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm such a beginner. Like, how can you be so impressed with my garden? Thank you so much. So this year I decided to make some videos to show you how I got started, tell you about a few things that I learned along the way, and hopefully you can find it inspiring and start your own garden too. Trust me, if you follow through with this and end up having a garden, you're gonna have a very satisfying summer. You're gonna have so much fun. And if you have kids, they just love running out to the garden to see what else is new, what else can they pick today. And it's just such a fun and a healthy way of living. So to keep all the information organized, I broke everything that I have to share with you into 3 parts. Part 1 is gonna be this video where I show you all the supplies and everything that you need to start your seeds. And yes, I start my seeds inside and then I move them outside, and I will talk more about that in the other 2 videos. But today I'm gonna show you all the supplies that I need. It's so simple and so easy. You just have to be committed and get it done. The first thing that you need is a spot by the window. Your plants have to be by a window that gets plenty of sunlight. It's what they need to grow. So if you don't have like the perfect window with the perfect table spot or empty spot that you can use, just pick a window in your house that gets plenty of sunlight and set up like holding tables or anything temporary, because you're only gonna have the plants inside for 3 to 4 weeks. Now that you've set up your spot by the window, the other thing that I like to use is a tray, a bigger tray than the small trays that I use for my plants. I like that because it just helps me keep everything clean. If I spill a little bit of extra soil or extra water or whatnot, it doesn't quite get on the table and it doesn't quite get on the floor. Everything is kind of contained in the bigger tray. This is completely optional. You don't have to have a big tray for your smaller trays, but I find it really helpful to have that. Next, you're gonna need the actual planting cells, and this is what they look like. I got these from Amazon. I really like these. The ones I used for the last 2 years, I had gotten them from Home Depot, which is also really good, but I thought the material of those were a little bit more flimsy, and when I used it the second year, it was like falling apart. I wanted something a little bit more sturdy this year so that hopefully I can use it a little bit longer the next couple of years, but let's see. I got these from Amazon. I will link them for you because I think they are perfect, and I'll tell you why. So this is the lid that comes with it, which is really important. You want something with a lid that has space, because when your plants are growing, they need space to be in here. And I love how this lid comes with this air vent. This is actually removable. I actually clipped it on. And with this, you can allow how much air goes into your plant, which is important for some of the plants that you will be picking out. And if you feel like your plants don't need any kind of wind at all, you just keep it closed and that's it. Here is the bottom portion. It's 2 pieces. This is the first time I'm going to be planting in a clear one, which I think is super exciting because I think I'll be able to see all the roots, which is something I'm really looking forward to. And this is the bottom container. So this goes in like this, and this is where you plant everything. And then you cover it up, and this basically stays by the window for a few weeks, and then it moves outside. As you can see, this is pretty small to like transport. It's another reason why I like the big tray. If I was like vacuuming or I had to clean up, I can just pick up the tray at once, which fits like 6 of these. So it's more convenient for moving things around. This kit came with 10 sets like these, and each set has 12 cells. So I think that's like gonna be just right for how much I plan to garden, but it may be too much or too little depending on your garden space, which we'll talk about in part 2. It also came with these like this cute little shovel and like I don't know what this would be called, but I am assuming this is what you would dig the hole with so you can put your seeds in. It also came with these sticks that you can write with what you planted where on them. So I just like the whole kit. I feel like it came complete, and these are all things that you definitely need in order for you to start your garden. Next, you need some Sharpies so that you can label your sticks. I highly recommend testing whichever marker or Sharpie you plan to use. One, make sure it's visible, and two, make sure it's not gonna smudge or come off, especially when you water your plants. Just one of the lesson learns I had. Last year, I used a wooden stick for my garden labels, and I used the Sharpie and it looked all good, but when I watered my plants, the writing expanded and I couldn't even tell which plant was what, and it was just kind of annoying. So just like test your labels with your marker, run it under some water, just to see that it's gonna work okay so that you can stay organized and know where you planted what. Speaking of watering, I actually don't like to use a spray bottle. I find that when you spray those little tiny plants just making their way out, the pressure of the water coming out of the spray bottle is actually too strong. And what happened to me so many times is I find my plants all cute and strong and long, and right when I spray it, they all go like this, and some of them don't make it up again. So that just breaks my heart. What I've learned to use is like a drip water bottle. So something like this, or even a sriracha bottle if you have an empty one at home. These are perfect because they will just drip water right at the surface of the soil, so you don't have to touch the leaves or the stems at all, and still give your plants the water that they need without hurting them. You're gonna need some pots like these. I think this is a 3-inch pot, and these are basically for when my seeds outgrow this cell and it's not quite time to put them outside in the garden, I can transfer them in one of these pots to buy myself another week or two indoors before I have to plant them outside. Now, if you time everything right and your weather is cooperating perfectly, you should just be able to take your seeds from the cells straight to your garden. But sometimes that's not the case, or at least I haven't found out a way to perfectly plant it so that I can skip this step. Next, let's talk about soil and seeds. I don't have a soil with me to show you right now because I'm using my own compost that I made in my backyard. And if you're interested in learning how to do that, you can leave me a comment and I'll make a video of it later on. But don't hold your breath for this season because making a compost at home can take up to a year for it to be ready to be used in the garden. So if I do make a video on this and release it a little bit later, it will be a good time for you to start, and maybe next year you can use your compost as your starter soil. For this season, if you don't have compost, I'll look up some options for some good garden soils and leave them in the description box below. So you're gonna need that soil and seeds, and it's really straightforward after that. These are all the seeds I have left over from last year because I haven't had a chance to shop for this year yet. Picking out the seeds we're gonna plant is kind of like a family decision around here, and we haven't had a chance for all 4 of us to go to the store and pick out what we wanna plant. At the same time, I really wanna try to plant the seeds that I have left over from last year because that will be a new experiment for me. And if you wanna follow me on Instagram, I will keep you posted on how it's doing so you know whether or not you can use your seeds that's left over from the year before. The other thing you want to have when starting a garden, and this is not a must, but this is just how I do things, so I'm sharing it with you. If you're gardening for the first time, you have a lot to learn, and there's so much you're going to learn on your own that not me or anybody else is going to teach you in any of the videos. So what I would recommend to you is have a notebook dedicated for your gardening notes, meaning you are going to want to take your own notes because when you plant a variety of things, some are going to grow a lot faster than others, and some are going to be harder to manage because they're so fragile, and some other plants are going to give you so much harvest. You want to make a note not to plant so many next year and give the garden space to another type of plant. So all these things are things that you want to make notes of, just so when you plant next year, you can improve your planning process and you can have an even more successful and a richer garden. That's what I've done over the last 2 years. I took notes here and there, and I didn't actually combine all my notes in like one notebook, which is something I totally regret, and that's why I'm sharing this tip with you. You should totally do that if having a garden is something you want to do all the time, because you will be surprised how much you learn each year, and you'll notice how successful your garden is the following year just because you kept notes of what to change the next time around. last but certainly not least, seriously guys, this is like one of the most important things. Like, don't even bother starting a garden if you don't have the time to have a garden. Seriously, time is one of the main things you need to have a garden. It takes time and it takes patience. And I think it's only successful for me because it's really a genuine hobby. Like, I wake up every Saturday morning and I just want to run to the backyard, look at my garden, water it, pick out what needs to be picked, clean out any weeds that needs to be cleaned. Like, I enjoy that. And that's why I'm able to invest the time in my garden. My husband does too. Myra loves it. We find it to be such a relaxing family activity that we do together. So I feel like that's why our garden was successful and none of us knew anything about gardening the last 2 years, is because we really give it time. It's like, if you love something, it's gonna love you back. And having a garden is totally something like that. So I would say, just based on my experience, for every 6 feet by 6 feet of space, you need about 1 hour a week of maintenance. And that could be like watering every day for 5 minutes and cleaning out weeds every other weekend and harvesting. And when you harvest, you'll see sometimes you harvest so much that like it's gonna go bad if you don't do something about these vegetables, because they're organic and they spoil a lot faster. So you wanna like either freeze them or cook them or give them away or whatnot. Like, you don't want all your hard work to go to waste. Like, by the end of the season, you're harvesting so much zucchinis and they're literally going in the garbage because you don't have time to cook something that you can freeze with zucchinis, or you don't have time to go to a friend's house and drop off some zucchinis. So that's all I wanted to share with you guys in this video. I just wanted to focus on everything that you need to start a garden, and believe me, it is so rewarding. I'm sure you're gonna love it if you try it and you stay consistent with it. In part 2, I'll be talking about the layout of your garden and how much you can actually fit in your garden space and how you can figure that out, because your garden space is different from my garden space. So be on the lookout for this video. Thank you so much for your time. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, please subscribe, especially so you don't miss out the next 2 videos that are part of this series. I will say bye for now and I'll see you next week. Bye!